Hey, my little Chilluminats. Before we get going on today's Minisode compilation, I just want to say a big old thank you to today's sponsor, which is, of course, Talkspace. They've been sponsors for a little while now, and honestly, I love these guys. Between the constant news of the pandemic and the election nonsense and just the world in general, anxieties are riding just a little high. And it's okay to feel overwhelmed. Oh, feeling overwhelmed is something we all go through, and I go through it constantly. I'm right there with you. And like I said many, many times before, I've been using Talkspace before they were even a sponsor for the show. It's something that I've been using for a good while now, and it's just genuinely nice to have access to a licensed professional 24/7. You can also send unlimited messages to your dedicated therapist, and they will respond daily 5 days a week. Best of all, the entire month of Talkspace costs about the same as it would if you were to go to a single in-person session for others. Talkspace has thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. No matter what, Talkspace will find you the perfect therapist for what your goals are. Talkspace is secure and private, using the latest encryption technology to store client information. The bottom line is that we all need someone to talk to every so often. Talkspace wants to give us the support that we deserve, and of course at a price that we can all afford. As a listener of this podcast, you get $100 off your first month of Talkspace. To match with your perfect therapist, go to Talkspace.com or download the app. Make sure to use code CHILL to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's CHILL at Talkspace.com. How's it going, my little Chilluminats?
It's still creepy, no matter what you say.
I don't know. I think it gets a little more loving and tender every time I say it. Welcome to the next Chill Mini, episode 20. I hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you so much for your support.
20, really?
Yeah, this is the 20th mini episode.
Where does the time go?
It's fast, man. We're like 2.5 years deep into this. Yeah, out the window and abducted by coronavirus machines.
Giant coronaviruses?
Giant coronaviruses. I don't know what you boys brought.
Well, I tried so hard, but I didn't
in the
even
end,
know.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I wasted it all just to watch you go.
That was track number 8 on there. That's track number 8 on their CD.
Number 1 in my heart.
It was number 1 in my heart for a
I can think of at least 3 breakups that song helped me get over. At least 3.
I miss the idea of a DJ being one of the guys in the band. I miss that time.
He's an important and very vital member of that music group.
From Hanson to Linkin Park.
Mike Shinoda did most of that song.
Is Hanson still doing stuff?
Actually, probably.
Yeah.
They might. Yes. Yeah, right? I'd ride that. I'm sure the Gravy Train's good.
They were like 12 years old when they started, so it was like...
I watched that music video, I think, like a couple years ago, and it's just them. It's incredibly 90s because it's just them running up and down the street, like knocking the hats off of each other, jumping at the camera, singing.
Saying
like
they can, but not knowing.
Yeah, and then skateboarding down the sidewalk with like weird, like 0.5
with the
speed
lens.
Up. It's
very Beastie Boys.
Yeah, and that's the kind of faces they make, like very happy faces. The camera constantly it's bizarre. Low budget. Anyway,
I mean, the song is low. The song is like bop mipatop ba doo wop.
It has words.
Do it up like it. Sure it does.
Yeah,
but that's, I mean, let's just be clear. It's a low budget song.
It is. Did they have another hit song after that?
They had a couple songs though. They had like the Christmas song.
They had a couple albums. They just didn't have a hit.
So did like 98 Degrees, and they lasted a little longer than Hanson.
But I couldn't tell you a 98 Degrees song to save my life.
Hanson must have some other songs.
I don't think so.
No? Alex has got to know now.
No, I'm sure they do, but only to the Hanson stands out there. Yeah.
The one
super
fan.
Someone's like, Hanson's song "Summertime Blues" was great. You guys suck.
Mbop is top song. Second song is "Finally It's Christmas."
Wow, that's
Hanson Christmas.
Oh,
Then it's an Owl City song featuring Hanson.
oh no, dude.
Then it's
Nice.
another Christmas song. Then it's two more
Nice.
versions of Mbop. Then
Have
it's
you
a song
ever-
called Where's the Love?
Have you ever been to an Owl City concert before?
I've been to a Postal Service concert. Is that the same thing?
It is not. I went to an Owl City concert in like 2017, 2018. Very weird vibe. Lots
I feel
of
like there's a
women
lot of
who
different
are-
ages. Yeah.
It's like lots of girls who, well, I say women who are like in their 30s screaming like they're 16 again. And
Can I just say that sounds like to me a great night.
It's like Bon
I
Jovi.
want to be. That is my target audience right now. I am like
head to an
women
Owl
in their
City
30s.
concert. They're
Hello.
drinking a lot, but also the songs are not so subtly about how God gave him his career.
Yeah, and those ladies are gonna give.
He constantly,
Him.
every song, he's like thanking God for, him being able to put on a concert for 200 people.
The penitent man will pass. You know what they say?
Yeah. penitent.
In Latin, Owl City sounds like the Postal Service.
Yeah.
What'd you get? What'd you bring us today, boys? What weird news around the world is
I
happening?
got stuff for you.
What is it?
Okay. Alex,
not weird at all.
Jesse, Mike, whoever.
So here's the thing. I received an email, and you might have as well, about this. We talk often on our show about, classified information and top secret information. I got an email from a listener who literally gave me his information, but said, do not say any of this on the show.
We get a few of those. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. I will simply say a viewer who may or may not have given me information about who this viewer is was like, hey, I know you guys talk a lot about classified and top secret stuff. If you need any help with it, or you want to get the right verbiage or, military insider knowledge, I'd be happy to help you. But don't include my name. And I was like, all right. So, this is the email that I got.
We have become coast to coast online.
Yeah, I mean, but this isn't like weird or anything. This is just
No, we get a
clarification
lot
for
of
us.
weird stuff though.
I don't get weird. Thank you, internet. Thank you for keeping me off those lists. I have an active clearance, the details of which I do not want to discuss, and obviously will not be providing any information of an unclassified level. That said, professionalism and the professionalization of your discussion is something that I want to help with in regards to common misunderstandings regarding secret or higher information of the of knowledge within the government that the public must speculate on. All right. In case you don't get back to me, here's a few pointers in terms of government classification. 1, we do not say classified. Sensitive information is only referred to by its technical classification level, something like secret or top secret, etc. These levels are unclassified for official use only. That would be things like medical records, social security numbers, etc.
Right.
Sensitive. This is an uncommon one, generally used for like domestic operations. Secret. This is sensitive target and intelligence information, open largely to anyone in the military, an attached contractor or someone like associated with it. As you obtain during, you obtain a secret during your basic training, that kind of thing. Like something you would learn, they teach you that you would need for knowledge about, if you're going overseas or whatever. Then there's secret, no foreign national. And this is secret level, but must not be shared with any counterparts from an allied country. This is typically British and Aussie folks stationed with us. And there's top secret. This is obviously more sensitive and critical to national security. There is top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information. This is information that is top secret, but like don't share between departments of the government. And then there is top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information, TK. And I'm not sure what TK stands for, but this is like
Total combat.
Yeah,
to kill.
The authors of this says, I cannot discuss these details on an unclassified network. Whatever that means.
That's probably fucking Google emails.
I don't know. And then there's top secret, sensitive compartmentalized information, TKCI, and TKFS. Same as above, but the CI and FS identify an individual having successfully completed a full polygraph examination administered by the intelligence agency.
Now,
And
before we go, this is a random tangent. Hasn't it been proven that polygraph tests are fucking bullshit?
They're
on
not
almost all
bullshit.
degrees?
They're just not good for like deciding whether or not somebody's innocent or guilty of a crime.
yeah, they actually, polygraphs, they work, but they're easily manipulated.
Because they don't, they're not telling you if you're lying or not, just measuring your body's reaction, right?
Correct.
To the question.
Yes.
And as
And
somebody
so
like
that-
me who's an anxiety-ridden person, I imagine it'd just be like, whoa, he's scared.
Yeah, that whole thing where you can put like a tack in your shoe. Have you ever saw that? Where like
have
you can,
heard of that, yeah.
The pain, if you like press down on the tack, the pain in your body will cause it to spike, and so you'll get weird readings. Like if they ask you your name and you press down, you say Jesse Cox, it will read like that's not his name,
Yeah,
like
okay.
that kind of thing, and you can really screw up the test. Yeah,
Sorry, continue with the classifications. You said polygraph and my brain was like, hey, I know something about that.
I would trust like if there's two agents standing in front of me and they're both the same level of security clearance and one of them has taken a polygraph test and the other one hasn't, I'm going to trust the one that has.
absolutely. The remainder of the clearance levels may only be discussed in a top secret facility or higher. So that is all on this topic. I look forward to helping you guys out in the future. So I guess there's other higher things than top secret guy took a polygraph test that they can only talk about, which is probably those things that fall under, when the government goes into those rooms that are like sealed. You know how the last few years they've had to, especially when dealing with Russia, they're like, we all went to this meeting in a sealed room, and then like people were trying to order pizza there. Remember that whole thing? And people were like, you idiots, you brought
Tinker
a phone
Tailor
in?
Soldier Spy vibes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that as well. And so I thought that was interesting because you're right. We keep saying stuff like it's classified information when I guess technically that's, although I guess wouldn't classified fall under the umbrella of everything because there would be classified and then unclassified.
I think classified is more like you're just hinting at like a state of the information. Like it's in some way classified.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's classified into one of these specific groups.
Yeah.
Got that.
All I'm hearing is that the Chilluminati now has spies in it.
Right. Well, I was actually going to say
as well.
We actually got an email from somebody who works in the military, not somebody who deals with the top secret stuff, but wanted to clarify about the idea of the military showing up at Roswell, for instance, and being like panicky. And he says, because he gave me his branch and stuff, and I for one, I don't remember what it is, and for two, I don't even remember if he gave me permission to say it. So
Right.
I ain't calling people out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
You
what he
want a
said is like
message? I
the
ain't gonna say
military tends
nothing.
to be reactionary and hoarders. And so even if it was something of theirs and it wasn't even all that top secret, the military is likely going to lock it down and just scoop it all up and make it secret until a time later at which they can address it at some point. The way that they handle crashed little tests and whatnot, or even just crashed at weather balloons, is always almost the same. They hoard things. They just take things and then they put them away. And as long as they have them, they're safe. And that's how they kind of think. So when looking back at the Roswell thing, the idea that they kind
not
of showed
that
up
crazy.
that's not necessarily out of the realm of the norm for the military when something mysterious might hit the ground and all they want to do is bring it back and hide it away.
I don't know.
I mean,
I still
that's-
don't know about flying a weather balloon to Washington, D.C., but other than that, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But that's been the military's MO forever. I mean, ever since they spirited away that treasure from the Egyptians and gave it to George Washington. And it, remember in National Treasure? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I actually never saw National
I forgot
Treasure.
about the facts presented in that film.
Yeah, remember the facts of that? All right. First off, we discovered the real travesty today. Mathis, how have you never seen National Treasure?
You've said this
You
about
of
3
all
movies.
people.
I'm really sorry, but you are going to be like, the longer you realize how very little I've seen in movies, the more disappointed you're going to be in me.
I am so
Never
upset
seen
with you.
Shawshank Redemption, for instance, like a
Great
classic
movie.
that everybody should see.
But here's the thing.
You could
I
watch it or
would
not.
rather you watch National Treasure. I would
Yeah.
rather sit down with you to watch a National Treasure. That movie will make you so happy. You especially.
listen, man,
You would love that movie.
Shawshank is nothing because we all know what's going to happen. We're all going to watch it. We're going to be like, damn.
What a classic.
What a
Great,
classic
great
movie. I'm so
At the end
sad
of that
now.
movie, like one single masculine tear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
But
National
this movie-
Treasure.
National Treasure.
That's
Oh my
tequila in
God.
the movie. You know what I
Basically,
mean?
what my trip in April to see you guys was supposed to be is now turned into an extra week, and we have to watch a movie every night.
It's
apparently.
just
I would
set in
love
April of
that.
2021 now.
yeah,
You know,
no,
it's just
exactly.
a different.
It's April of
I
2020.
Different
would
April.
love to. I now have a life objective of making you watch. I need to find out what movies you haven't seen and force you to watch them just so I can be in the
Dude,
room
just
with
write
you.
a list, and I'll just tell you no.
Get out-
Basically,
How have you not seen National Treasure? How?
I haven't seen Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind either.
Whatever.
Really?
Eh,
All right, all right.
No, it's
all
good.
right.
Don't. It's the third kind, but it's
Third
good.
Kind, sorry,
Yeah,
but
I was
Fourth
gonna
Kind
say
either.
Fourth
I haven't seen
Kind,
the That's the
that's
B-rated
stupid.
sequel,
Yeah.
direct to VHS.
Close
That's
Encounters
the
of the Third Kind?
Transmorphers.
Right.
I can't believe that you're an Alien fan and you in your head don't have like womp, 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 womp.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
know.
have that in your brain?
I don't, and I know the history of the
Laugh
making of
this.
that film, and like how Spielberg talked to the people who worked on Project Blue Book and all that other stuff. Like
I'm
I know,
so
like the
upset
history
right
of
now.
it.
How is this possible?
Spielberg's like
sorry,
the original
man.
Tom DeLonge.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you got for us, Alex?
I'm going to tell you about La Mancha Negra.
Sorry.
Oh.
Okay, so this article is from Mysterious Universe, another podcast out there about this kind of stuff. They have many more resources than the Chilluminati podcast. But one of the things they have
Give
is
us
a great
10 years,
website.
man. We'll be there.
Yeah, one of the things they have is a great website where people write articles of the weird. So this is about La Mancha Negra. This one's by Brett Swanser. In 1986, in Caracas, Venezuela, on the highway between the city and the airport, guys were out doing maintenance on the road, and they noticed this like black shit oozing out of the ground that was like half liquefied chewing gum. And
Like tar almost?
yeah, kind of tar
What?
looking. And it was just a few patches at first, 50 yards each, you know, which is a lot. It's like half a football field. But, you know, it's this black shit was like coming out. And then eventually it started spreading to the point that 8-mile stretches of the road were
Oh,
like
God.
like they were covered in this stuff.
8
It's
miles?
it's
Oh
a
my God.
30-mile road, and 8 miles of it were like
What
in
year was
some way
this?
obstructed by this goo. And it came and went randomly. Like when it's hot, it bubbled up more often than when it wasn't hot. It never appeared in the wilderness, just near the road. Everybody's like, what the hell is it? And by 1992, apparently it had caused over 1,800 deaths because of how slippery it was.
Jesus
That's a lot.
Christ.
That's
What?
a lot of deaths.
Nobody researched into this thing?
So locals were like, this is La Mancha Negra, which if you don't know Spanish, that means the black stain. And a taxi driver was quoted as saying, driving with La Mancha Negra is like driving in a Grand Prix. You got to be careful or you'll die.
Okay.
They can offer me double the fare, but if La Mancha Negra is bad, I won't drive. It's not worth dying for. Started spreading even further. And at first people went in thinking, obviously this has to do with how these roads were made. There's something crappy happening here, like some like shoddy workmanship or something like that. But they tried throwing limestone on it. They tried washing it away with pressurized hoses. They could not get rid of it until 1996. This German company or this German equipment came over and they like cleaned it semi-permanently. But then it came back in 2001. So they ran tests, and
From where? Like where? Does it have a source?
it just oozes up out of the ground. And preliminary
Why would they
tests.
not tear up the roads? I would be like, what the fuck
It's too
is
expensive.
this
It's too
shit?
expensive to do that. So tests show that it's made of dust, oil, and various organic and synthetic materials.
Synthetic.
It's still the operating theory is just that it's some type of bad road work. That's all they got, or that maybe like car shit, just like slowly.
Oozing and
Souped-
like soaking into the ground, and then
Car
eventually
shit? Is their diagnosis is car shit?
Like brake fluid and oil and all that crap, just like seeping into the ground.
This
What
seems
do
like
you think
lazy
it is, Alex?
detective
It
work.
doesn't make sense that
it
it's-
seems like car shit to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that it's just in Caracas, Venezuela. Nobody knows like what happened. Some people think it might just be like evidence of corruption and like crappy work in like the public sector, something like that. But we all know what it really is, which is that entity on that planet that killed Tasha Yar.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
about to
that's
say.
it.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
God, man.
La
Well, hey,
Mancha
man, at
Negra.
least Data got to bone before she went out, you know?
God bless.
Why is that the one takeaway you had?
Because season
Picard,
one is
the show,
awful.
man. You got to watch that show.
Season one is so bad, and that's the only good parts of it is just the terrible, terrible plot lines.
Wait, Data banging and Picard?
Dude, you
Data
gotta
banged
watch.
Tasha Yar in season one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Data
I thought you
bangs.
meant Picard. I was like, aren't
Oh,
they all
Tasha Yar's
like
dead. She ain't in
70
Picard.
now?
I'm just saying, you know, watch Picard.
Picard is
you know, if you
terrible.
like Data fucking, you might want to watch Picard.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
might.
want to,
yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Have you seen Picard?
No, I haven't seen any of it.
Have you
God
played Mass
awful.
Effect 2?
Yes.
Same
For
shit.
sure.
All right.
That's what I hear. I'm like, all right,
It
whatever.
literally is actually the same story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that
yeah.
oozing, slippery slickness.
That's what they
and
all
thanks
say,
for
baby.
listening, everybody. Here in this show.
That's what they all say.
You
What?
all nasty.
You all, thank you, my little chill minis for hanging
Don't
out
say
with us.
that. Don't stop that. Stop this.
When will you just accept it, Jesse?
My little Chilluminati.
understand?
Four
Okay.
nights.
There.
Now that's a good ass episode.
That is a
now that's a
great-
good ass Star Trek episode. That one's actually super entertaining.
I was just somebody from Livingston, Scotland, talking about what I saw.
yeah,
in the night
right
sky.
up in the
Right,
sky.
right. My
Jesse,
bad.
and just be thankful that it's Chilluminats and Chill Minis because people like they were tossing around the idea of being called children and calling you daddy.
Children is
You,
the
Here's
word.
the
Jesse
thing.
specifically call you dad.
I'm not opposed to people calling me daddy, but
It's
I
context.
just feel-
It's about context.
Yeah, it's a context thing.
Right,
Like,
but-
there's a time and place to be called daddy, and none of it involves children, at least for me.
No, sir.
So I'm fine.
Same here on that. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
How's it going, my little chill minis? My little Chilluminats.
Hey.
I hate this.
Started off so much weirder than I expected.
That's because
I
it's weird.
rescind. I don't want to stay for this.
You didn't know what you were getting
it is
into.
weird.
This is how we.
Hello, my little chili millies.
It's so weird.
Hello.
Listen, there was at some point the fans were debating calling themselves children so they could simply call Jesse
I
dad.
don't like
Children.
that. Stop it.
Children, Chilluminats.
Chilluminats what they settled on.
Chill
Everybody loves
Chilluminats.
Chilluminats.
I don't have
Yeah,
any
no
children
Chilluminats.
that I'm aware of. Yo.
Welcome, Dodger, and thanks for hanging out with us on this
Yeah.
little chill mini.
Thanks for inviting me on.
No problem. We're happy to have you. We simply talk about weird news that's happening out there in the world and either laugh at it or, in my case, try and convince Jesse it's proof that aliens are actually real.
Sure, delightful. I'm ready. Let's do it.
So it's a lot similar to our other show that we do.
Rubs fingers together.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, you brought something that's fascinating because I think it's everybody's heard about
Yeah,
this.
this
so
is kind
take
of
it
the
away,
big
dude.
mystery of the week. This happened September 1st, which as of this recording was 3 days ago. This is super crazy because the reports came in overnight that the FBI launched an investigation into this incident because an American Airlines pilot on Sunday was coming in on a vector into LAX. And he got on the little intercom with the tower and he was like, Tower, American 1997. We just passed the guy in a jetpack. And the American, like the tower's like, American 1997. Okay, thank you. Were they off to your left or right side? And he's like, off the left side, maybe 300 yards or so, about our altitude, which at this point, I believe was about 3,000 feet in the air.
Oh, that's wild.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he was like, we just saw the guy pass us by in the jetpack. A second pilot says from a JetBlue flight, they both saw it, and then the traffic controller was just like, only in LA, which I think is like a crazy thing to say at that time when you don't know who the guy is in the jetpack flying over the airport in 2020. But according to the FBI, who has somebody on the ground called Laura I. Miller, she said that agents were investigating at LAX. The FBI is aware of the reports by pilots and is working to determine what occurred. Nobody knows anything about it, but the official explanation of what went down was two airline flight crews reported seeing what appeared to be someone in a jetpack as they were on their final approach to LAX around 6:35 p.m. on Sunday. The FAA alerted local law enforcement to the reports and is looking into those reports. And that's literally all it is. But the thing that's crazy about this is that, like, according to the Wikipedia article on jetpacks, which maybe isn't the last word on jetpacks, but like there hasn't really been like a lot of technology that makes a jetpack that looks very similar to like what you would imagine, say, the Rocketeer or Iron Man to have. So the idea that somebody's floating in the air, like in like what I can only assume is probably restricted airspace over an airport. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's probably something crazy. Like, I don't know exactly
I'm
what
gonna
it
link this
is.
to you all in Zoom. Here's a video because this article, like I heard about it as well. It sent me down a jetpack rabbit hole. There's a video of a dude in Dubai that literally, like, look at that. Like, have you seen this?
Yeah. I mean, this is
that's smooth.
Yeah, and he, like, if you zoom up to the rest of the video, he flies through the city in this thing.
that is crazy. So maybe it is something like this, but they didn't. I haven't heard anything about what the actual mechanism looks like itself.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. Like what the possibility could be. I was watching those guys that do the special effects breakdowns. The Corridor guys, you know those guys?
Corridor Digital?
Yeah, Corridor Digital. They're like they just do like fun special effects type stuff on the internet. But they were at some place in LA that had some sort of jetpack technology, but it was like very much not like this Dubai guy. It was very much like, I think it had like a hose that attached it to the ground, and he was able to he was holding two things too. So he was able to do the like little like princess arms Iron Man thing that he does to like.
Well, there's the jetpacks that I've seen in the past are the one that has the two like side nozzles coming out that are sort of away from the person, that those are what propel you. I've seen the ones that are the water jetpacks that use the water to keep you off the ground.
And they like go up and down like dolphins.
Yeah.
There are these Jetman jetpacks, like in this video where it looks like the wings of a plane on your back. There are many different varieties of them that exists, but I think that the life goal is the one that's literally just the Mandalorian jetpack where you just strap it to your back and you're like, pew, and you Tony Stark your way through stuff. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this Dubai guy, like, if you told me, oh, it was this, I would be like, that explains it. Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize that there was technology like this. Like this looks.
He has no way to land though, so he just goes until he runs out of fuel and then he parachutes.
Really? No, he's landing.
Well, yeah, he parachutes into an area like you go, but he has to go until he runs out of fuel. There's like in the beginning of the video where he's going up and down, but once he's like flying.
Well, the one that I'm thinking of as being like, oh, this is the future. There is a video on YouTube for those of you who want to look it up. It's called How Gravity Built the World's Fastest Jet Suit. Jet suit is the term I was looking for. It literally is Iron Man. The dude has the engines on his hands that he uses to move him and like change his direction. And then he has a giant thing on his back, and that's it.
This is the thing that I was looking at. Oh wow, they've really they've taken it out of the hangar. This is literally the exact technology that I was looking at.
It moves so fast.
Cool.
It's so neat. Although this is
also
how you
looks
die.
Extremely dangerous.
Yeah, this looks how
So
you would
dangerous.
die.
I was just gonna say, like, no, thank you.
one accidental turn of the wrist and you're just like,
I like
gone.
know I would just break my goddamn face on this. Like I would smash myself into the water and like die. I would be dead in like 2 seconds.
Oh, it's wild.
That scares the hell out of me.
But yeah, it
That's
happened. There was a
cool.
guy in a jetpack over LAX and nobody is like that worried about it for some reason. It's just like a crazy thing that everybody's just willing to accept in this crazy waterfall of crazy news all the time. But like, I mean, what the hell was that? What was that? Maybe it was Jetman.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was an alien, dude. Listen, did you hear in quarantine, UFO sightings are up like 30% around the world?
Look, people are
Like
bored.
people seeing UFOs all
People
the time.
bored.
I was gonna say that's because everybody's drunk.
Okay. Anyway, so moving on. I got some lighthearted news for you.
All right, do you
This
want to
is,
save it,
just
or do
from
you
a
want
few-
me to have mind-blowing stuff for the end? It's your call. Do you want to do lighthearted news at the end, or do you want me to like leave people questioning reality?
Oh God!
What?
Oh,
What a
don't-
tease.
Now I gotta. Let's just save yours to the
Okay,
end then.
yeah.
Let's let people question.
All
This
right.
is an easy one. Out in Italy, just literally 3 days ago, the article: Flat Earthers seek edge of the world, but end up on an island off Sicily. A pair of flat Earth enthusiasts from northern Italy set sail from Sicily with the intention of reaching the remote island of Lampedusa, which for them represented the edge of the flat world, reports a Italian paper record, Cora de Serra. So just so you know, these couples, the flat earth that they believe in, because there's many different kinds, is the kind that has an ice wall.
Right. Oh, of course. That makes so much sense.
They're going to sail, just the two of them, to go find the ice wall at the edge of the earth. That's their plan. Unfortunately, a middle-aged man and woman undertook their escapades in full lockdown, breaking the strict COVID-19 travel restrictions in place 3 months ago. The story, which is only coming to light today, reveals that the hapless pair reached the northern Sicilian port of Termini Imerese, I'm going to butcher these names, where they sold their car and bought a boat. From here, they set sail for their desired destination, but ended up instead on the island of Ustica, 60 kilometers to the northwest of Palermo, and not remotely near Lampedusa, which is, I'm butchering it again, which is located to the far south of Sicily, near the coast of Tunisia. The disoriented pair arrived into the harbor of Ustica, tired, thirsty, and risking shipwreck, to the dismay of the local mayor, the Carabinieri, and the Coast Guard, according to the Italian media. The funny thing is, the funny thing is that they oriented themselves with a compass, an instrument that works on the basis of terrestrial magnetism, a principle that they, as flat earthers, should refuse. Salvatore, a doctor at the Maritime Department of the Ministry of Health, told Italian newspaper La Stampa. After disembarking in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic, the two were escorted to Palmero, where they were placed in quarantine on board their boat for 15 days. They tried, however, doesn't end there. The couple decided to risk a daring escape by sea, which also did not go according to plan. Being inexperienced seafarers, the two were picked up by the harbor master not far from the coast, despite being at sea for 3 hours. Escorted back again to the port, the pair then made another attempt to escape, this time ending up in the home of a mythomaniac man who claimed falsely to be coronavirus positive, before they eventually returned home to Veneto by land, to the understandable general relief of everybody around, reports the magazine.
What a fucking wild, like, last stop before you're done.
So there's some fun idiots
Sci-fi
in the
movie.
world still trying to prove that the earth is flat while using technology that requires the earth to be round, and failing miserably. Jesse,
all right,
I hand it to you.
Okay, I warned everyone. All right. Let's leave Earth for a hot sec.
I've been waiting to hear you say that since day one.
All right. Well, researchers at the Korea Astronomy and Space Institute released an article that posits something that is an idea that we don't really think about all that often when it comes to space. And what they suggest is that we need to think of space as being much bigger and more complicated than we already think of it. And we think of it as being very complicated as is.
I was going to say, we already consider it to be fairly complicated.
And what they're saying is that, like, we see space as kind of like looking in between the cracks, right? Like an ant would see certain things. It wouldn't see the table. It would see like part of the leg and try to figure out like how that leg worked, right? And they're saying we see space as like fragments of a bigger picture that we yet don't understand. And so they released this article, and what they're saying is that after analyzing 445 galaxies, surprisingly, galaxies 6 megaparsecs, basically 20 million light years apart, are moving the exact same way. They observed, for example, a galaxy moving towards Earth was mirrored in the exact same way by a distant galaxy moving in the exact same direction. This discovery, they said, is new and quite unexpected. I've never seen any previous report of observations or any prediction from situations like these that represent this phenomenon. Since the galaxies are too distant for their gravitational fields to be influencing each other at all, Lee posits another explanation, that the linked galaxies are embedded within the same larger scale structure. Another puzzling thing from this is that
yeah, like we're like a Jackson Pollock painting, And there are repeating patterns and fractals that are within space. And there's another galaxy that is behaving exactly like we are, despite what seems to be randomness.
Well, another puzzle
It's just
suggesting
unsettling.
the influence of large-scale structures has become clear over recent years. It is observed that galaxies surrounding our own Milky Way are weirdly arranged in a single flat plane. Big Bang thinking would suggest that anything circling us would be expanding at all sorts of different angles based on an explosion, right? Exploding out.
Right, because outward. Yeah.
And that it's obviously for adherents of that way of viewing, known as the ACDM model. That is a Roman A, so I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. If it's a Greco-Roman
Like
A,
Alpha.
maybe the Alpha CDM model. This is a very troubling anomaly. Boy, I couldn't say that word. They also suggest that that too could be because we are a part of or seeing a larger object. Certainly, imagining a vast, utterly gigantic object in space that is comprised of these galaxies is kind of a different way of looking at how the internet works. Or no, the galaxy works.
I was like,
Or
what
is
a
it the
heel
internet?
turn. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
But they're saying that it's hard for us to really truly know them because we see things smaller than they actually are, right? Because from far away, we can see giant superstructures in space and we can see massive nebula and all these different things, but that's so far away. And when looking at where we're at in the galaxy, the things we see only like the little parts of it. And so
Right.
we're
An ant will never be able to see the whole table.
yeah,
Just to
we're
go back
basically
a
living
metaphor.
between our own atoms is kind of the idea. Like it's so we're so small compared to something so big that we truly can't see the connectors. But what we do see is that things are moving in the same way and things are changing in the same way. And is it like Dodger said, where it's just there's so much that chance and logic means that of course something's going to happen, or are they in some way profoundly connected and we just don't quite know how yet? And that's kind of what they're looking at.
Are we on a tapestry that was intended to be a certain way?
Or perhaps a marble in the locker of the gym bag of an alien in the end of Men in Black. And then Will Smith has like a slightly weirder tuxedo on at the end and he flies away. It's not a tuxedo, it's a suit. Goodbye.
Thank you for that, Alex. Oh God, I love that shit like that though, because it's such a fucking reminder of just like we are nothing. We are specks of specks of specks, and
That
there's just no way to know what the fuck's out
that one
there.
video on the internet, if you ever want to just like question reality, that one video on the internet that's like the size of Earth compared to the entire universe. You always forget, like you think like, oh yeah, the universe, it's huge. But like when it does that thing where it pulls out and it shows our galaxy, then it pulls out and it shows like our galaxy cluster, then it pulls out and it shows like the many, like whatever it's called when it's like the many, many, many galaxies that are part of us. And then it pulls out and it's like, and then we're part of this like one little tiny place of all these other bajillion galaxies. And you're like, we are insignificant. I'm about to become a nihilist all of a sudden. Just like, F it. Why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares? What
Yeah.
does it
Matthew
matter?
McConaughey now.
Nobody should argue about whether or not their waifus are shit, because all waifus are shit in the grand scale of the universe.
Yeah.
And we're all shit and everything is shit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anime
So we might as
nihilists are the
well
worst.
spend this time loving each other, right?
Might as well play the Mario All-Stars pack on Nintendo Switch until your teeth fall out.
What?
I don't.
That's my
terrible
philosophy.
Is
thing.
everything okay over there for
That's
you, my
my
man? Are you
philosophy.
good?
What do you mean? That's nihilism, right? Guys, come on.
Until our teeth fall
All right,
out.
thanks for joining us on this chill mini, Doctor.
No problem.
Chill, Mini.
Jesus, a little chill mini. We appreciate your support, patrons, very, very much. We'll be back next week with a new chill mini for you right here on the Patreon. Goodbye.
Love
Yay.
to see it.
Bye, chili bubbies.
No.
Chili Bubbies, and just with that are the names got
No.
changed.
I'm so sorry.
Chili bubbies. All right, I'm gonna stop this.
Hello, my little Chilluminauts.
I don't. No. No.
doing?
No, thank you.
Welcome back.
No, thank
Who's
you.
ready to get low?
No. No.
How's everybody doing?
Not good.
No, Jesse's
I've been
emergency
better.
button.
I gotta say, I'm doing great.
I'm glad to hear it because we're about to make your life so much better. We all came.
I don't like that promise either.
I don't know what you boys brought for some news, but I'm going to open it up today.
Okay.
Because this comes from September 18th. This is 2 days ago, 2020. Unidentified forest object found in the Polish wilderness with a picture, of course.
Forest object? Do you say you're gonna put it in the chat?
I'll put it in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, I want to see this picture.
You're going to love where this article comes from.
What is this?
An unidentified forest object, a UFO.
Unidentified forest object.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
A man exploring a forest in Poland came upon a rather puzzling sight in the form of a mysterious object that some have likened to a downed UFO. Pictures of the pear-shaped piece of debris were submitted to the Polish newspaper Echo Dnia last week by a reader, Domagala is all I'm just going to say the last name, by reader Domagala, who said that they had discovered the strange and rather sizable oddity while visiting a wooded area in the province of Svietskorsky.
Sure.
That's pretty
The
good.
objects, yeah, not bad. The object seems to be metallic and based on what looks to be significant weathering, may have been in the forest for quite some time. So Alex and Jesse can see this object too.
It looks like Metro, like dead ass. Like it looks
Yeah.
like some fallen piece of Chernobyl or something.
He says the person who found it noted that they weren't the first one to find it, as there were a number of empty bottles of booze scattered around the site. As for what the object could have been, the newspaper suggests that it could have been some kind of construction equipment akin to a concrete mixer. More imaginative observers pointed out the debris somewhat resembles a famed acorn-shaped craft reported in the legendary Kecksburg UFO case and argued that perhaps it was a downed alien craft.
There's no way. It literally looks like it's made of some sort of
Metal,
man-made,
steel.
yeah, something, yeah.
It looks like it's from wartime. It looks like a piece of a boat. But I mean, I can totally see like, you know, those like drawings of UFOs. It kind of has that vibe of like a drawing from like the 50s of a UFO.
Yeah, it's definitely got that vibe. Absolutely. Also, though, like a point in the article is made as well is like, how would a UFO crash in the wilderness without the government ever picking it up? But I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe.
it's probably like stealth technology from another world. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, usually. Anyway, it's cool as hell. It looks cool as hell. It's if you want to find it, y'all, it's over at Coast to Coast.
It's
If
tight.
you want to go take a look at the article. It's an article by Tim Binnall.
That's neat.
I think it's cool. Take it away, gents. What do you got?
Okay, so I have been looking for a new episode to do, which I just found out today is going to be episode 69. So now,
We just found out today too.
yeah,
so-
I think it's still going to work. I think it's still going to work now that I know that I need to do an episode 69. But this is one of the stories that I was looking up that I wanted to maybe do, but it's really a great little story. But it's a little too short for an episode. So I just wanted to like give you a rundown of it really quick.
man.
Based on this article from My London about a place called Highgate Cemetery. And this crazy thing that happened in the 70s there. It's in London. And basically, it's a North London cemetery that has a bunch of famous people in it. Karl Marx is in there. George Eliot is in there, right? It's like got the classic look of a cemetery. Like they used it for movies a lot of the times, just because it has that like scary sort of like almost like a forest of gravestones vibe, if you can imagine.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I got you.
But people started to see this like dark figure roaming the graveyard at night with red eyes. And it looked like he was maybe floating off the ground, like not really walking. And so people started to call this thing the vampire, right? And
Okay.
then this guy comes onto the scene and writes a letter about it in the like local newspaper. This guy, David Farrant, and he's a like Wicca guy who's like really deep into the like sort of like alternative religions world at the time in England. He claims that on Christmas Eve 1969, he saw something in the cemetery, and that he found also foxes in the cemetery that had slit throats. And he was the president of some occult society. And then another guy named Sean Manchester got interviewed for another article about this. And he said that this thing was actually not just a regular vampire, but that it was a king vampire who was from Wallachia.
That's not real.
That's what he
What makes him a
actually
king
said.
vampire?
That's not real.
That's what he actually said. And he said that the body was buried in Wallachia and then resurrected by somebody, a modern like Satanist practitioner, like in modern time, like in the 70s. And that's why
This is just
people
what we
have
do.
started seeing it.
This isn't, no.
So this guy Manchester was also the president of another occult society, and he was also apparently the bishop of a church, and he said that he was going to get rid of the vampire. And and then the other guy, the first guy who wrote the letter, the other occult guy, said that everything had been like sort of like blown out of proportion, and that the media was sort of like overhyping it, and that it was just a basic ass ghost, not really like some crazy king vampire at all.
It's just a basic ghost, please.
So then in 1970, the guy Manchester published a book called The Highgate Vampire. And then the other guy published a book called Beyond the Highgate Vampire. And then they started kind of like feuding. And there was like a TV special about this angry mob of people that were like on both of these guys' sides, headed to the cemetery to like take out this vampire with like
Vampire murder gang,
with like
bro.
stakes and crosses. And they both were interviewed. And then the one guy, Manchester, said that he was going to have a vampire hunt every night at the cemetery with people
Hell yes.
to like keep the other guy out. So there was literally people lining up to participate and hopping the fence. Graves were getting opened. Corpses were getting beheaded. They were staking corpses.
They're just going all out.
And the whole time there was still sightings. And then they both started competing and trying to be the first to kill the vampire, until finally in 1973 they decided to have a duel, a magic duel.
With who?
The two guys.
Okay.
The two guys were tired of each other's shit, and they were like, we're going to have a magic duel on April 13th, 1973, Parliament Hill. We're going to have it. But then these rumors started happening that there was going to be all these sacrifices, and that a cat was going to die, and that there were going to be naked virgins everywhere. And then somebody's cat went missing. And so the first guy, he got like villainized in the media by this like rights association or something for like beheading a cat. And so then they got arrested because shit started getting too real. And eventually it ended when Mr. Ferrant, the first guy, was arrested carrying a crucifix and a cross, a crucifix and a stake, and damaging graves. And he did sue the newspaper for making him look like a cat killer. And they still feud to this day and do weird like voodoo tricks on each other. And it's just this crazy thing that happens in England.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I love it. I'd join that mob, honestly, early days.
I know you would. You'd be like, I will duel you with my wizard powers.
You just want it just for kicks, though, right? Like you're just
Right, yeah. Well, maybe I'll get some sweet wizard powers out of it.
I don't think it's for kicks. I think Mass would be like, what's the over-under on I getting wizard power, though? Like,
what if I get bit by a vampire?
Yeah.
Right, could I become a vampire?
Will he feast on me, or will he turn me into one of his thralls? I just would love to know.
Well, you're right. Okay, cool.
All right, let me bring us back to reality for a hot sec. Let me take us back. Come with me. So on the 12th of this month, the New England Journal of Medicine. This is hey, for all of you out there who want some good news in the world. The New England Journal of Medicine on the 12th published a unproven but promising theory that they are going to be studying now, which is that the universal face mask mandate might actually be doing unintended consequence things, but in like a positive light.
Okay.
Okay.
I got
so
really
all those others.
I got really triggered for like 1 second, and now we're good.
So apparently, as it's been stated, unless you have like the N95 mask or whatever it is, you're not stopping particles from getting to you, right? Like the idea of a mask is that you are, protecting your spittle from hitting other people. And then if everyone's wearing a mask, everyone's protecting the like bits. And so you're making it safer for everyone. Like the whole idea, right? Well, what the New England Journal of Medicine is proposing is, and they're going to start studying this, is that, all right, so we understand that it's not stopping all the virus, but we understand that wearing a face mask helps reduce the severity of the virus and ensures a greater proportion of the new infections are asymptomatic. If the hypothesis is true, academics are arguing that universal mask wearing may be some sort of virilation, I hope that's how you say that would generate immunity, thereby spreading the virus in the United States. Essentially, you're microdosing yourself with COVID, and so your body is fighting it because it's getting at such a small
low
level
doses.
that more and more people over time will slowly become, they'll slowly get like, some level of immunity to it. And so increasing evidence shows the amount of virus someone's exposed to, the dose of the virus, may determine the severity of their illness. Indeed, a large study published by the Lancet last month found that viral load at diagnosis was an independent predictor of mortality. So wearing masks could, therefore, reduce the infectious dose that the wearer is exposed to and subsequently impact the disease as the mask filters out some of the virus containing droplets. And then they give you like a great chart where they talk about like while talking what it does, and while coughing, and while sneezing, and then like what I'm wearing a mask, and then like all the way down to a surgical mask and what they can do for you. And then they say if the theory bears out, researchers argue population-wide mask wearing might ensure a higher proportion of COVID-19 infections are asymptomatic. Better still, as data has emerged in recent weeks suggesting that there can be strong immune responses from even mild or asymptomatic infection, researchers say that any public health strategy that helps reduce the severity of the virus, such as mask wearing, should increase population-wide immunity as well. And so they're going to be looking into viral load and studying that. And they're saying this is like a great thing to learn before any vaccine comes out, because this is another way of dealing with it, because they're saying there's a lot of asymptomatic cases, and they were wondering why that is. And they're like, maybe it's because all these people are being microdosed on COVID. And so I thought that was fascinating.
Like that makes obviously the still studies need to be done and stuff, but that makes a lot of sense and is actually really great to hear.
Yeah, it's nice to
even
have a little good
worst case
news.
scenario, you're still doing the right thing by wearing a mask, and you're still helping other people. It's just it might actually be better.
Yeah, they're saying like, look, we can't guarantee, like some people will wear a mask and they'll still get sick, right? It depends on so many factors. But they're saying that if you're wearing a mask and you are exposed, that they're seeing an increase in asymptomatic cases. And so now they're like, we need to study this. So
It's interesting to me. And yet another reason to just wear a mask when you go outside.
just listen to scientists and doctors. It's crazy what that does for you. Yeah.
I know, right? Weird to listen to the educated folks.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're going to end today's Chill Mini. Thank you all so much on Patreon for your support, and those who are listening a little bit later for free in the little minis. We love you. Thank you so much for your support and listening to us. We'll be back next week with some more Chill Minis for you, and keep an eye out if you guys have jumped up to the $20 tier. It's we're coming up on October already. We'll have some new digital poster stuff coming your way in just a couple of weeks.
Bless.
Cool.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Peach.